Hey everyone, and all be all here back with week 4 of GAC. Before we dive in, big news on ships. As everyone knows, obviously, three fleets are now going to be required starting next season for Kyber, and it's going to be interesting. I must say that we were, it should have been expected given the fact that they're adding all these new ships in, but I didn't expect it so soon. I thought they'll give it at least a few more months. Capital ships are not the bottleneck. It's going to be the regular ships which are the bottleneck. And, if I think about the previous time that a change like this happened, which is when we went from one ship to dual ships in Grand Arena, that felt more comfortable and more natural because almost everyone had negotiator, malevolence, and Radus as well as finalizer, and maybe one other ship, Empire and Rebels. Actually, six fleets they had at that time, which were more or less functional. And having just one fleet on defense felt a little unnatural. So it felt more natural moving to two fleets at that time. Moving to three fleets, it's uh, it's going to be a stretch. And but having said that, I think there are creative ways to get around it, and I'm planning to make a strategy video on that pretty soon. If you remember back when we moved from one fleet to two fleets, I made a comprehensive fleet guide to enable people to counter any variation of fleets that they might see on defense. It did pretty well, and over the time, over the year, I've received lots of requests for me to update it. It's a very similar in format to the 5v5 GL counter guide that I put out. I think now is a great time for me to refresh it and give some of my thoughts on that. So be on the lookout for that video over the next week or so. I'll be working on that because these videos take a lot of time. I'll be working on putting something like that together, a brief visual, as well as give some of my thoughts on how I feel we should approach this new triple fleet strategy on defense going forward in GAC. I've got some thoughts, and I think this is going to change strategy quite a lot. And there are a few different ways of thinking about it, but I'll cover that in detail in my subsequent video. For now, let's move over to my Grand Arena battle. Now, this one is my very first battle of this week, the fourth week, and it's against Leriche. Leriche is a patron of the Gambit podcast and a really good player from the guild Rebel Force Tatooine. Really decent lifetime banners, 1029 and slightly higher GP and relic level than me. I believe about 600, 700,000, but it's not much, honestly speaking. Both of us have the same characters, same GLs, same Starkiller, everything, and very similar mods as well. So I think it's more or less an even match. My opponent has reached rank Kyber 86 before. Pretty good player, and typically tends to go defense heavy and tends to make it a slugfest. That's what I've noticed from the history, that they like to set heavy GL defense and go in with and they're very comfortable with off meta counters. Honestly speaking, more than the GL count or relic count or mod count, what I'm most when I look for an opponent, what I'm most wary about is how comfortable they are with off meta counters. That usually tells me how tough an opponent is, because that tells me that no matter how tough a defense I put, they're going to clear it no matter what, because they will they will have answers to almost every GL that I put on defense without their own GL. They'll be able to whittle it down. So I needed to be get a little creative with that, and try to make sure that I can maybe flip the script on them. That's what I was going for. You can see over here in terms of characters, they've got tons of R9s, and all their GLs are at least R8, and they've got three GLs R9. I just have JML R9, and the rest of mine are mostly R7. But you know, um, I think as long as you play creatively, there are ways around that. All right. So what I decided to do was, again, this is something I did last week as well, and I failed. I decided to go efficiency. So this time, I felt, if I'm able to make my opponent trip on a few battles and get a low enough score, if I save enough GLs on offense and I'm able to take out my opponent's GLs effectively, then I might be able to beat them on efficiency. So I decided to go efficiency again. My natural playstyle is slugfest, and maybe I should have played that. It would have made more interesting match, but this is what I decided to set down. I kept one GL down south, which is Ray, and then I kept a few other medium teams. Nothing really that great out here. And then at the back, I decided to place my JML squad. Now, typically I don't place JML on defense. He's always on offense for me, but decided to place JML, decided to place Gas. Thought I'll, try to throw my opponent off a little bit. They might not have an answer. I felt for JML, but if they'd saved C, then it's a very, very easy counter. And then over here up top, again, extremely weak team. So you can see I decided to go efficiency heavy. And my opponent, Leriche, did struggle on ships, 3 battles against my executor, but that's almost par for the course these days. So it's still a really good score, 1671, really good score. The only drop was on ships, so I needed to be extra careful on my offense. I've got DR, crew, nothing much at the top. Everything is pretty much manageable. And then down south, um, we have um, we have one GL and Sith Eternal Emperor as well. So typically my opponent usually goes 4 GLs on defense. That's not Sith Eternal. That's Emperor Palpatine with Starkiller. So typically my opponent tends to go 4 GLs. So I was expecting at least 3 GLs at the back. So I needed to be able to take this out without using anything too expensive. So let's go ahead and get started with the battles. Now, the uh, the very first battle that I decided to do was, I believe, was it the Starkiller? Yes, so it is the Starkiller squad. Now, this version of the Starkiller squad is the toughest version. Obviously, you have EP and Mara, which is almost expected in every good Starkiller squad, and the Mara Jade is pretty fast, 360 something, I believe. And then you've got Visas in there for the revive, and then the tank. Usually, a lot of people tend to go with Old Ben or Kanan. In this case, my opponent went with the best possible option, which is General Kenobi. Now, General Kenobi typically tends to make the Grievous count a little tougher because he's got the cleanse, and he gives uh, critical immunity as well, critical damage immunity, which means that CLS might struggle as well over here. So this is typically the tougher version of the squad, and Larisha mentioned to me afterwards that this squad hadn't been a one shot ever. So it's a pretty tough squad to take out. I decided to go with my Grievous squad, and one of the main changes I made before I headed into this week was added a ton of speed on my Grievous. My Grievous is now 260, I believe, or 258 speed, which is effectively faster than most Mara Jades at 350 to 360 range, even with the Starkiller bonus and all. So I think if you want to make your Grievous counter more consistent against Starkiller, you need Grievous to go first and apply target locks. And for that, you need a high-speed Grievous, and you need to go with BB-8. I know a lot of people prefer the Newt option. I feel that that spirals out of control very soon, so I prefer to go with the BB-8 option. So you see over here, my B1 goes, and then my Grievous gets to go before the enemy team goes, and reduces their turn meter a bit and gets a little more control over my team. And I keep doing AoEs and keep popping the target locks in order to reduce that turn meter and keep my team's own turn meter train rolling. So I'm trying to see what to do next. Luckily, I have applied buff immunity on General Kenobi, which is great. And then I'm trying to do what I can to prevent the team from going. As you can see over here, as soon as someone comes to near full turn meter, I'm attacking them so that their turn meter gets reduced since they have target lock on them. And and there we go. Grievous General Kenobi has cleansed it, and then the team has gained control again. But I'm trying to see if I can still maintain the turn meter train. Luckily, I did manage to reach the Illuminated Destiny, and that adds a little more damage to my team. So I'm trying to again get control with Grievous, and lucky thing the Illuminated Destiny actually came at the very right time because I did not allow Mara Jade to go at all, and managed to control the squad. And you can see over here now almost everyone is taken out. I took out the next character with the highest turn meter, and then which was Emperor Palpatine, and now the team is more or less under control. I mean, just managed to make just General Kenobi got to go once, but otherwise the battle was pretty smooth. I think it would have gone very differently if my Grievous was slower and I'd allowed Mara Jade to go first. land all those debuffs to tenacity down and given everyone turn meter, the battle would have gone extremely differently. But this way, I felt it was much more under control. So, highly recommend modding Grievous for speed if you're planning to use this counter with BB-8 against Starkiller EP. So I was pretty happy with this outcome. And then I decided to use my own Starkiller against the enemy Ray. Now, I've used it once before, actually a couple of times before, and I've always timed out on JTR. But it seems to be a pretty, standard counter. If not a one shot, at least it give you a very comfortable two shot in there. I typically find like over here I took Old Ben in there, but I think I should have probably taken come to think of it, I should have taken Mace in there because Mace had a dispel. Old Ben, there's no other way for this team to dispel the taunt that Holdo has. Uh, Old Ben, uh, Old Ben is useful for ability block in certain cases, but I think Mace might be a better option over here just because Mace is able to dispel the taunt, and also Mace is able to dispel stealth. Which is a great option, especially if R2D2 is there in the team in the race squad. So here you can see the battle is sort of going out of control. I haven't really landed shock on everyone. These guys have got inspiration. They're attacking me back. And, I've already lost my EP as well. So I'm trying to, I have a revive from Visa, so I think I'll probably use that next. But there's really, without EP, Starkiller really doesn't get to go much because you see his stacks is only 32. The main way that you're able to build his stacks is EP doing his basics and then Starkiller assisting on those. That's the best way to get this team down. So I think getting stuck behind that taunt of Holdo cost me that. I am able to get EP back, but I need to work fast to get um, some more stacks on my Starkiller so that I'm able to get the ship down. There we go. I'm using basics from EP as much as I can. And I've got about 69 stacks. Still not enough. I need to make sure that I keep doing more of this stuff so that I'm able to get to the 100 stacks before Ray shoots off the ultimate. And now you see I'm at 79. Keep doing more basics over there. That's the key. You just have to keep doing basics either with Marrow Jade or with EP to reach full stacks. And now I'm at 99. One more set of basics should get me there. And one good thing you'll see over here is, okay, so I've reached the ultimate. I don't use it right now, obviously, because everyone is in damage immunity. But one thing is, your tank should not be under damage immunity when Ray reaches her ultimate. Because if your tank, in this case Old Ben, is under damage immunity, then Ray's ultimate gets spread between four characters. No damage lands on Old Ben in this case. But if Old Ben right now, for example, is out of damage immunity, then the ultimate gets spread over five characters, and your team has a better chance of survival. So you need to do what you can to avoid the damage immunity on your Jedi tank so that you are able to survive Ray's ultimate. That's a pretty important thing to keep in mind. All right, so now I I'm trying to bide my time, and here I made a big mistake. I should not have done the special with the Starkiller because that gave damage immunity to my tank. Ideally, what I should have done is done basic with Starkiller so that the Ray's ultimate gets spread out between five characters and not four. In this specific case, luckily, I was able to survive the Ray's ultimate, so that's great. But otherwise, I think you always try to do what you can to avoid the damage immunity. The other thing that you should do is try to make sure that you dispel the inspire from Ray and JTR, because as long as these guys are inspired, um, every time that my team gains turn meter, these guys are going to gain mastery. And that's a problem not only for Ray because she tends to hit harder, but also for JTR because her mastery ability basically increases her dodge chance, and it becomes a problem to take her down if her mastery is too high. So all other folks are, it's really not much of an issue, but JTR becomes a problem if you're not able to use if you're not able to if she stacks up too much mastery. Now I am all of my characters are alive. unfortunately, Ray gets to go and take out my old Ben. That would have been the right time to use a special from Starkiller to give Old Ben buff damage immunity. But now over here you see, I've got the ship down. Not all the characters are out, but Ray is out, which is the most important thing. I'm able to take out Holdo pretty easily, but I really struggle on JTR. I need to do something to figure out if JTR is in the squad, what else I can do better to take it out, because this is the second or third time I think that I'm timing out on JTR using Starkiller. Anyway, so I decided to use then. So this is he's done a very interesting thing. Leriche on for Dash team. It's obviously an Omicron Dash. He's put in um, the Rebels, Han and Chewie, in the team, and that makes it a little bit tougher to counter. Typically, I would have taken in Treya or uh, you know some other squad which is survivable. In this specific case, I decided to take in the JKR squad just because they've got more survivability. And these guys hit hard, but that's why I took in GK as well, my own GK, just so that my I'm able to have a little bit of damage immunity and another cleanse as well, because these guys they do a lot of debuffs, and Daze is basically going to kill my team. So you can see over here, I'm my GK is almost out, even though he did a good job tanking things well, but he was almost out. But it's a good thing that I was able to cleanse with him, and I don't have my Jolie since he is on defense with my Jedi Master Luke. But once I was able to survive the initial shot, my my GK was able to take a lot of heat, and I was able to get this team down. Because typically this team tends to be a pretty rough team to take out. You definitely can't use Treya on it. It does cost a CLS squad, but I think if you're able to pull something decent, it might be a good option. In this case, my opponent managed to make me pull my GK. And as you'll see, that ended up costing me quite a lot. But let's wait for that moment. And then against the BAM squad or the Django squad, I decided to take in my Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn with Mace in there. I think Mace is another good, decent addition to the Qui-Gon Jinn team because it gives them a tank who can taunt basically, and allows you to allows you to keep your Qui-Gon Jinn alive for a little bit until you're able to take at least a few side characters out. So Mace can find a really good spot in the Qui-Gon Jinn team as well. I think I think he's definitely got a place there. There's so many spots that Mace can now fit in. Definitely in the Qui-Gon Jinn squad, in in a Jedi Knight Revan squad as well. Any Galactic Republic squad with Padme, or even in a pinch, even with Galactic Republic Jedi. All right, so um, this next battle, okay, I think something went wrong with my screen, but this is just cleaning up the JTR with my own rebels. So, let's just skip through that. And then we go to the back zone. And in the back zone, my opponent um, he had his the Lord Vader, and typically never keeps a Lord Vader with Maul. Typically, always Leriche keeps a Maul separately as a separate squad. So I was prepared for that, but with Maul, it becomes a bit of a problem. I tried a few different things. This is where I really regretted not having my GK with me, because if there was a GK, I would have probably gone in with my JMK squad, but without that extra taunt, I didn't know whether I would be able to, because Lord Vader reaches ultimate really fast. Without General Kenobi in there for that extra cleanse, I didn't know if I would be able to do a decent job. So I decided to try something different. I was trying to see if I can get my um, SLKR squad to take out at least the side characters. But over here, Maul just does too much damage. And I thought I had my speeds clocked right. If my first order officer went before my Hux, then I would have done two huge swipes back to back, and I would have probably reached my ultimate much faster. But now, as you can see, I allowed both Maul and Lord Vader or Darth Vader to get to get going, and I got my GL fractured as well, which means that I ended up doing a terrible job on that battle. So that battle was lost. And then I thought that, I've already dropped one battle in the front zone with Ray and JTR, and I've already dropped one battle over here. So I'm definitely not going to win the match, given that, it's an efficiency battle and I've already dropped two. So I decided to use the rest of the battle to test a few things out. I was curious to see if my Fennec squad would be able to take a few of these characters out. My Fennec is only R5, but I felt that, this is a perfect opportunity for me to test it out to see to what extent I might be able to get the side characters out. So the way that you do this is you cleanse, get the contract immediately, take out the tank, which is in this case RG, so that you have free access to all the other characters. And now at this stage, you should ideally try to take out Vader first, because he can get really, really problematic. If there's Maul on the team, and if your Bosk is not R9, you're probably going to end up losing your Bosk. But I made a mistake. I went after Thrawn and then Maul first. I should have probably gone after Vader, because he tends to go around the board and wreak havoc. If I went after Vader first, then Maul, and then Thrawn, I think it would have been I would have been in a much more easier situation. But in any case, I tried to take out, again, another mistake. I should have called Fennec to assist over there. I called Zam to assist. I don't know why. Fennec might have been able to take Vader out, but tons of mistake and, tons of things that I've learned over here. So only got Vader left behind in the end. But, I've practiced since then a little bit more in the arena. And even without Zam Omicron, I tend to do a decent job in the arena. So I think in the next match that I have, I might be in a decent situation. So my opponent at the back zone kept not only Lord Vader, but also JML and GAS. So I need to do what I can to be efficient in these squads. I know by this time I've probably already lost it, but I decided to do what I can to take the rest of these squads out. Now, I've never really faced a JML on defense before, at least not since I unlocked my own Sith Eternal. So I was very curious to see whether my own Sith Eternal would be able to do a decent job against a JML. This is obviously the most reliable counter against a JML squad. You go in with your Watt, you apply the taunting tech so that you have protection regeneration as well as freedom from debuffs. And then you reach your ultimate as soon as possible and take out the side characters. You typically tend to put the link on the character who takes the most turns. In this case, it's going to be Grandmaster Yoda. But one thing that concerned me in this match, and I wanted to see whether it would work or not, is my GL, my Sith Eternal, is only R7, and the enemy Jedi Master Luke is R9. So that's why you see these guys doing tons of damage. But I was curious to see whether my team would be able to survive enough. And my Sith Eternal did manage to get through at least one at least get to one ultimate. And now I'm trying to see if I can't get these guys taken out a second time with another ultimate. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to trying to take out as many Jedi as I can before these guys use all of their lead ability assists to take me out. I should have probably gone after Jedi Master Luke right away, because he's the main damage dealer over here now that Grandmaster Yoda and Ezra are gone. So there we go. And my my team is surviving. Sith Eternal is surviving somehow. And he's got about 190 health or something like that. So not too crazy, but did manage to survive the squad. So which is interesting to see. So it's good to know for next time in case I need to use my Sith Eternal against a strong JML squad, that survivability at least is there. Now I had my JMK and I decided to just use it against the gas. Undersized, since you really don't need much over here. So if I had my Kenobi, my GK, I would have probably used this against Lord Vader, and then used the SLKR against the 5 squad, and then the others I would have probably been able to one shot pretty easily. So something to keep in mind. Maybe I should have used my mace along with my JKR squad. That might have proven useful as well. And then I probably didn't even need mace in the in the Qui-Gon Jinn squad in that particular time. But anyway, that's all hindsight. Now I take out the gas squad, and then I just need to clean up the Lord Vader and then take out whatever is there at the top. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's go at the top and see what else we have there. Oh yeah, now this is me trying to clean up the Lord Vader squad. I tried with the Mandalorian team and came close a few times. I definitely took out Lord Vader. I mean Vader very easily, but Darth Vader, but wasn't really able to get enough damage to take out Lord Vader. Came very close a few times, but R9 Lord Vader, that it makes a big difference. And my Mandalorian squad, even though it's extremely survivable, these guys just weren't able to get the job done. Even with two armor shreds, I wasn't able to clean it up. So we'll come back to that later. We have a Darth Revan squad, pretty straightforward Darth Revan squad, no Talon in there, but should be pretty easy to take this out. And my opponent has done a very decent job of making sure that he set no team on defense, which can be Wampa, because he knows I've got an Omicron Wampa, and I like to use that quite a lot. So did not really set any team which can be Wampad. Definitely no Iden, no Mon Mothma, which is interesting. Definitely played intelligently over there to make sure that I don't get to use all of my strengths. So this is the Darth Revan squad. It's really not much of an issue taking the squad out. The Marauder was able to take care of my range. I have a G12 range, so not very survivable. But the rest of the characters are able to punch through this squad. So I think over here I do the AoE, manage to land fear on everyone, give me a little more breathing room. I only do the basic over here because I need my Dark Trooper out of stun in order to be able to do some damage. All right. Took care of Revan, and now one more shot to take care of Malik. And then this squad is done. All right. Let's go to the next squad. All right, so there was only one squad, in my opinion, that could be Wampad, and my opponent had left a resistance squad, Finn resistance squad in there. And I thought, it'll be no problem at all. Wampad's got tons of tenacity, tons of health, and should be able to take care of this no problem at all. But check this out. There was a daze which landed on my Wampa. I completely forgot about the irresistible daze that Scavenger Ray applies if she has a Zeta. So that's something which completely slipped me. I mean, who checks Scavenger Ray for the Zeta? But that was problematic for me because now my Wampa, even though other debuffs are not going to be applied, but at least the daze got applied, not once but twice. So I needed to make sure that I take out Scavenger Ray first. Otherwise, my Wampa was not going to be able to counter back and was not going to be able to do any damage. But luckily over here, I managed to find an opening and take out Scavenger Ray, and then the rest of the squad was no problem at all. So a little bit of a wrinkle, a little bit of an unexpected surprise, but no problem for my Wampa in the end. So good move by Leriche to try to put a team which might have thrown a winged wrinkle if things would have gone differently, but luckily Wampa pulled through towards the end. The rest of the squads are really not much of a problem. This one is a pretty straightforward counter. Bad Batch versus the crew squad. It's a pretty standard counter with all the defense down and all that, or rather the defense up, but true damage damage. And then I decided to try something interesting over here since I'd already lost on efficiency. I decided to take my Newt with the Geos. I thought that with extortion they'll have plenty of speed and there'll be plenty of debuffs, so these guys will get pretty low on health because I'll be doing tons of health damage. And I did get somewhat of a Terminator train rolling, and there was tons of speed on me as well. But oh yeah, I am able to get this done. Okay, I thought for some reason that I lost this battle, but Apparently, I was able to clear it, but for very weak banners. So I probably won't try that again. Um, but yeah. So then I decided to take in my own Lord Vader squad against the enemy team to clean that up. And maybe I should have taken my own Lord Vader with Maul against that squad. Maybe that would have, maybe a mirror match might have been more useful. I would have had more control. But again, hindsight. Um, Here, this is again the difference between R8 Lord Vader and an R9. It takes me so long to get him down, even though he's got no allies to really get his mastery stacking. It still takes a good 4 minutes for me to get him down. All right. Then the rest of it is just a ship's battle. He had kept his malevolence, his bounty hunter fleet. So I decided to take my own malevolence against that. And this is something which in the last week or two, it's been really dropping in consistency, the malevolence counter to the bounty hunters, just because there's there's that bug with the, or they fixed rather the bug with the assisting vulture droids, where they have a 70% chance as written in the kit to assist and not a 100% chance that they had before. And at the same time, the executor now heals the weakest ally in there. So you can see over here, I've almost taken out the enemy ship, and then the malevolence just goes and the executor just goes and heals them up. So because of these two factors, I find the malevolence counter extremely unreliable. And in the future, I think I might be going in for a different counter, either the first order counter which is coming up, or you obviously need at least a 5-star Echelon for that, or I might just go for a bounty hunter mirror. I've practiced enough in the arena that I'm able to get the bounty hunter mirror down to a more reliable counter. Even with a executor which goes before my own. So I think that might be the better way to go about it. So you can see over here I've taken my rebels in second, and rebels are getting demolished. So I'm wasting essentially three good teams against one team, and especially with three ships coming in on defense going forward, I just won't be able to do that anymore. So I'd rather spend one good fleet against another good fleet than waste three good fleets against one good fleet, which is why I think a bounty hunter fleet mirror might be the best option going forward. Over here, I decided to try the first order counter against a negotiator with the Empire fleet. This kind of a team again is something which might not last in the three in the triple fleet defense. You can't afford to use your TIE bomber with your negotiator fleets anymore, because you need a solid Empire fleet on your own. Not only with three fleets coming in, but also with the TIE interceptor being unlocked now, the conquest ship. There's just a better place for the TIE bomber in there than using it with your negotiator squad. And not only the first order fleet like you're seeing right now, but even the Empire fleet with the TIE interceptor can take out this fleet very easily. Any combination of negotiator fleet can be taken out extremely easily with the TIE interceptor. So I would avoid breaking up my Empire fleet into this hybrid negotiator fleet over here. Anyway, so I'm trying to just pass as much turn as I can to my silencer, so that I can do enough damage to take the ship fleet out. And it's really not much of a problem. I've I think taken out this particular fleet 3 or 4 times with my first order fleet. First order fleet is again going to be one of those fleets which is going to be an absolute must on offense. There's just so much of damage which gets done with this fleet, and there's so much flexibility that you can take it against so many different fleets that it's a really great option on offense. So then I just have a final cleanup with the Radus against the Executor. Radus fleet is something which I'm strongly considering putting on defense with the 3 feet meta going forward. Primarily because Radus fleet, it's very difficult to one shot. Like, it's primarily used in cleanups where you nuke the enemy ship and then you follow it up with another capital ship. But now capital ships and regular enemy ships are going to be in so much demand that you can't really afford a nuke option. And you can see over here, I've wasted now ultimately 4 different fleets against my enemy fleet. So you can't really afford a double ship, like a nuking of a ship like Radis, and then following up with another capital ship, you can't really afford that in going forward. So going forward, I think my Radis is probably going to be on defense, and I'm going to take in ships which I have a strong chance are going to be able to one-shot the enemy fleet. So that's going to be fleets like my own Executive for the Mirror, my Empire fleet to take out enemy, malevolence or negotiators or even enemy empires. And then I'm going to probably take my Rebel fleet as well. That's also amazing on offense and very easily taken apart on defense. And then First Order. First Order, again, is obviously amazing on offense as well. So these four ships I'll probably keep on offense. And for defense, I believe the Negotiator, the Malevolence, and what else? The Radis. I think these three probably going to be my go-to ships on defense, which might strip some banners, cause some amount of problem, but at least allow me to full clear pretty easily on offense with three fleets of my own. So here you can see the results of the final battle. I'm about 1631, Leriche was 1671. So ended up losing by about 40 banners. So if I hadn't, lost so many banners on the fleets on the character zone, I might have made it a closer match and probably might have had a better chance. Because I had a triple shot on the Vader. I lost out. I had a double shot on the Ray squad with my Starkiller. So if of them were one shots, then it would have been a much different battle. But great job for my opponent. Big congratulations to Lady Che for giving a really interesting match. One big lesson I learned is I should probably stick to my strength, which is keeping a strong defense and then having a slugfest out. I think that would have probably made a little bit more of a difference. But nevertheless, really enjoyable match. All right, so that's it for this week for this video. I might make a video for my third and final match for the week. I've got a really good opponent. The second match I won. The third match, I've got a pretty good opponent from Core Elite, which I might make a video about. So yeah, but I'm also working on the ship video that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So depending on how much time I have, I will work on one or two of those videos and hopefully have them out in the next week or so. All right, thanks for tuning in. This was a great week and a great match. I look forward to catching you guys pretty soon. Happy gaming and catch you later.